Ladies and gentlemen, today we step into the electrifying, heart-pounding world of Japanese anime, a universe where legends rise, monsters fall, and one man dares to challenge destiny itself. This is the tale of a warrior whose footsteps shook the battlefield, whose presence rewrote the rules of power, and whose name became a symbol of fear and tragedy. This is the story of Toji Fushiguro, the man who killed a god. In the vast and ever-evolving world of Japanese anime, there are characters who shine because they are righteous, characters who rise because they are powerful, and characters who stand tall because destiny has carved a path for them. But every once in a while, there comes a character who breaks every rule, every trope, and every expectation the audience carries in their heart. A character who walks onto the screen not as a hero, not as a villain, but as a force of nature, unpredictable, ungoverned, unstoppable. Toji Fushiguro is one of those rare beings. His story begins not with glory, not with honor, and not with destiny, but with rejection, exile, and the raw, instinctive fight for survival. Born into the prestigious Zenin clan, one of the three great families of the Jujutsu world, Toji was supposed to inherit a legacy of power, pride, and lineage. But fate had a cruel twist waiting for him. In a world where cursed energy is everything, where strength is measured by the invisible force running through one's veins, Toji was born with absolutely none of it. No cursed energy, no technique, no future. For the Zenin clan, he was not a child. He was a defect, a disappointment, something to be thrown away, forgotten like a broken tool. And so, the boy who had no power decided he did not need anyone's acceptance. Cast out as a failure, Toji chose to carve his own path, one drenched in blood, sharpened by pain, and fueled by an iron resolve that no one, not even the gods of the Jujutsu world, could measure or understand. His story is not about a chosen warrior. It is about a self-made monster. A man who built his strength without cursed energy, who trained his senses until they rivaled supernatural abilities, who transformed his human body into a weapon that could shatter destinies. While most sorcerers relied on techniques, domain expansions, and inherited power, Toji relied on reflexes so sharp they bordered on impossible, instincts that verged on animalistic, and a brutality that terrified even elite sorcerers. In a world governed by curses and spiritual forces, he was an anomaly, something that shouldn't exist. And because of that, he could kill what others couldn't even touch. Anime fans often talk about Toji as if he were some mythical warrior, a shadow blending between the line of man and monster. The way he moves, the way he fights, and the way he thinks, all of it carries the essence of classic anime anti-heroes. He is the embodiment of that raw, unfiltered coolness that old-school Japanese anime characters were built on. A man with no flashy powers, no glowing auras, no dramatic transformations, just pure, deadly talent. The kind of talent that makes sorcerers tremble. The kind of talent that even curses learn to fear. And yet, beneath that intimidating exterior, there is a silent tragedy that only the observers can understand. Toji never wanted to be a monster. He became one because the world left him no other choice. Toji's journey is like the arc of a blade. Sharp, clean, and dangerous. His entrance into any scene feels like the wind shifting before a storm hits. Calm, cold, but carrying the promise of chaos. Audiences feel the tension rise the moment he steps forward, because everyone knows, when Toji appears, someone important is about to fall. He brings that classic anime adrenaline, the kind that fills your chest, the kind that makes your jaw tighten, the kind that reminds you why Japanese animation is so uniquely powerful. He reminds you of those iconic anti-heroes who appear out of nowhere, dismantle everything in their path, and leave viewers speechless. But Toji isn't only defined by his physical strength. His mindset is equally terrifying. He has no fear, no hesitation, no loyalty to any side. He is survival in human form. His confidence doesn't come from ego, it comes from reality. He knows exactly who he is, what he can do, and what he's capable of destroying. And that makes him more frightening than any curse. Anime worlds are filled with warriors who shout their goals, who promise to protect, who train endlessly to reach greatness. Toji doesn't do any of that. He does not speak loudly. He does not brag. He does not dream. He simply moves, and when he moves, entire battles shift around him. But beneath all that ferocity lies the quiet, painful truth of his life. He was robbed of the one thing that mattered most to him, belonging. He was never given the love, acceptance, or respect any child deserves. And because of that, the world twisted him. But even so, there are glimpses of the man he could have been. His connection to his son, Megumi Fushiguro, is one of the most emotionally powerful threads in his entire story. Even though he walked away from Megumi, even though he believed he wasn't fit to be a father, there is a part of him that still cared, deeply, silently, painfully. That contradiction, deadly assassin on one side, broken father on the other, is what makes him unforgettable. He is not just strong. He is not just dangerous. He is human, and that humanity makes his strength even more terrifying. Anime thrives on emotion, on heartbreak, sacrifice, determination, and explosive battles. Toji represents all of that in one brutal, conflicted character. His story shows that power does not always come from energy, magic, or supernatural gifts. Sometimes, power comes from suffering, from endurance, from being pushed into the darkest corners of life and still learning how to survive. That is why the anime community reveres him as the man who could kill a god. Not because he wanted to, not because he believed he deserved to, but because his entire existence was shaped by a world that underestimated him. And when the world underestimates someone for long enough, that person becomes unstoppable. Toji Fushiguro is not a hero, but he is unforgettable. He is not a role model, but he is compelling. He is not blessed by fate, but he defies it. And that is exactly why his presence in anime feels so iconic. He represents the side of storytelling that fans crave, the wild, unpredictable, explosive character who walks into a universe governed by rules, and breaks every single one of them without hesitation. And in doing so, he becomes something the audience will remember forever. In the universe of Japanese anime, legendary characters are not just defined by the power they possess, but by the way that power feels, how it strikes the screen, how it shakes the world around them, and how it leaves the audience breathless. Toji Fushiguro's power is unlike anything typical. It has no glow, no color, no supernatural aura. Yet the moment he steps forward, the atmosphere thickens in a way that even cursed energy users cannot explain. It is the kind of presence that makes the strongest fighters sharpen their senses instinctively, the kind that forces even the cockiest sorcerers to tighten their grip on their weapons. His power is silent, invisible, and cruelly efficient, like a blade slicing through the air before anyone even realizes they're already too late. Anime fans often describe Toji as the embodiment of what happens when a human surpasses the limits of humanity itself. Instead of cursed energy, he sharpened his body into a weapon, turning physical ability into something almost mythical. His movements defy the natural laws of speed and precision. His reflexes operate on a level that seems pre-programmed by instinct rather than thought. Watching Toji fight feels like watching an apex predator hunt. He does not hesitate. He does not waste motion. He doesn't even take joy in overwhelming his enemies. He simply acts, fast, cold, and absolute. In battles, his presence is almost unsettling. While curses roar and sorcerers activate their techniques with dramatic flair, Toji moves through the battlefield like a ghost wrapped in muscles and instinct. There's an elegance to the brutality he brings. His attacks are clean, sharp, and devastatingly accurate. Every strike lands exactly where it needs to. Every movement is calculated but natural, as if he is breathing in rhythm with the chaos around him. And because he lacks cursed energy, not even the world's highest level sorcerers can sense him coming. He becomes a perfect assassin, not invisible by magic, but invisible by nature. What truly sets Toji apart is the cold, terrifying confidence he carries. It's not arrogance, it's experience. He knows exactly who he is. He knows exactly what he can do. And he knows that the monsters standing in front of him, whether human or cursed, can fall just like everything else he has cut down. The title, The Man Who Killed a God, does not come from legend or exaggeration. It comes from the very real terror he instills in those who have witnessed his raw strength. In a world dominated by cursed power users, Toji walked in with nothing supernatural, yet his presence alone was enough to remind everyone that true danger does not always need a glowing aura. Anime thrives on iconic moments, scenes where a character's power leaves the audience stunned, rewinding the moment again and again just to feel that impact one more time. Toji delivers those moments effortlessly. The way he blocks techniques with sheer physical timing, the way he launches forward with superhuman jumps, the way he dismantles abilities that are supposed to be unbeatable, all of it feels like a direct challenge to the anime universe itself. He is the character who proves that sometimes, strength is not about what you inherit but about what you become after the world breaks you. And that is why Toji's power leaves such a lasting impression. He represents the warrior who stands on strength alone. No inherited curse, no ancient technique, no magical destiny, Only a body built through pain, instincts carved through hardship, and a heart hardened by betrayal. That combination creates a fearlessness that nothing, not even gods, can intimidate. In the world of anime, some characters shine not because of their victories, but because of the shadows they carry, the quiet, heavy, suffocating kind that follows them long after the battle ends. Toji Fushiguro is one of those rare characters whose tragedy feels almost too real, even in a world filled with curses and supernatural chaos. His story is not just about strength, it is about the weight that strength forced him to carry. He is a man shaped by abandonment, forged by discrimination, and ultimately broken by a world that refused to give him even a sliver of light. And yet, he kept walking, kept fighting, kept surviving, not because he wanted glory, but because he had nothing else. Toji's tragedy begins long before he ever picked up a blade. Born into the Zenin clan, a household obsessed with power and cursed techniques, he entered life already marked as worthless simply because he was different. While other children developed shimmering cursed energy and inherited prestigious abilities, Toji lived with an empty well, no cursed energy, no technique, no place to belong. Instead of support, he received ridicule. Instead of guidance, punishment. Instead of love, cold dismissal. The clan did not just cast him aside, they crushed him emotionally, as if his existence were an inconvenience. This was the first wound he carried, the wound of a child who learned too early that the world was not designed for him. And while the physical condition known as heavenly restriction made him stronger, faster, and sharper, it did nothing to heal the pain of being unwanted. His enhanced body became a blessing only in battle but a curse in life. Every time he excelled physically, he remembered why he had been pushed into this corner. Every victory reminded him of the people who never believed he deserved to exist. Toji did not become a fighter because he wanted to. He became one because that was the only path available to him. Anime often glorifies strength, but Toji's strength came from a place that felt brutally human, survival. He lived day to day, taking on dangerous jobs, burying his emotions under layers of apathy and violence. He rejected everyone before they could reject him. He destroyed before anything could destroy him. The tragedy in Toji is not that he was a monster, it's that the world convinced him he had to become one. Yet, beneath all of that chaos, there was something gentle buried deep inside him. Something he probably didn't even recognize. When he met the woman who would become Megumi's mother, a rare softness entered his life. This was the only time he experienced peace without needing to fight for it. But tragedy always finds its way back to those who have suffered too long. When she passed away, the fragile part of Toji's heart shattered, leaving only a man who didn't know how to live without losing something in return. After that, he spiraled deeper into the darkness he thought he had escaped. He even sold his own son, not because he didn't care, but because he believed he had nothing to offer him. He saw himself as the last person who could raise a child. He didn't want Megumi to inherit his pain, his emptiness, or his fate. In his twisted, broken way, he thought giving his son to the Zenin clan might give him a better future, even if Toji himself would never get to see it. It was the choice of a man who had long given up on his own life. And that is the core of Toji's tragedy. He is not a villain or a hero. He is a wounded soul who kept walking through a world that never once walked toward him. His final moments, the desperate clarity, the flicker of fatherly instinct returning just before the end, revealed a truth deeper than any cursed technique. Toji Fushiguro was not born cruel. He was shaped by cruelty. He lived in darkness, not because he wanted to, but because the light was never offered to him. When anime fans talk about power, they often point to explosive displays, cosmic transformations, or supernatural abilities that reshape entire battlefields. But Toji Fushiguro is a rare anomaly. His strength isn't loud, it isn't wrapped in glowing auras, and it doesn't rely on mystical energies. His power is terrifying precisely because it is real, physical, grounded, and the result of a lifetime of suffering, discipline, and survival. In a world where sorcerers rely on cursed energy to fight demons, Toji became something far more unpredictable, a man who turned pure humanity into a weapon capable of defying gods. And this is exactly why his legacy feels so monumental. He proved that in a system built to crush people like him, he could still rise and rewrite the rules. Toji's strength is not just about muscles or speed, it is a complete rejection of the limitations the world forced on him. Born without cursed energy, he should have been powerless. Instead, his heavenly restriction reshaped him into something mythic, a human so sharpened, so refined, that he could effortlessly slip through the senses of sorcerers who relied on spiritual detection. He became invisible to their techniques, unreadable to their instincts, and unstoppable once he closed the distance. This wasn't magic, this was evolution. Toji became the perfect predator in a world filled with prey who believed themselves invincible. Every feat he accomplished pushed the boundaries of what anime fans thought a normal human could be. He didn't just break expectations, he shattered them like brittle glass. His speed was so overwhelming that even special-grade sorcerers struggled to track him. His reflexes bordered on precognition. His precision turned every weapon he touched into a lethal extension of his will. And yet, his greatest advantage wasn't his body, it was his mentality. Toji fought with the ruthlessness of someone who had been hunting his entire life. He read his opponents like books, exploited weaknesses with surgical coldness, and never hesitated. There was no wasted movement, no moment of doubt, no emotional hesitation. He was the embodiment of efficiency and lethality. That is why his battle with Satoru Gojo remains one of the most iconic moments in anime history. Gojo, the strongest sorcerer alive, a man practically treated as a living deity, was expected to crush any opponent effortlessly. But Toji shattered that illusion. With nothing but his physical ability, strategic genius, and mastery of weaponry, he defeated the one man who was believed to be untouchable. It wasn't a lucky strike or an accident. Toji dismantled him step by step, reading him, outmaneuvering him, and overpowering him. The moment he stabbed Gojo through the throat became a symbol, a declaration, a cinematic shockwave. This ordinary human had slain a god. But the true essence of Toji's legacy goes deeper than just that victory. It lies in the idea that strength does not require destiny. It does not require a noble lineage, a sacred technique, or a mythical power handed down through generations. Toji proved that strength can come from pain, from refusal to break, from pushing past the limits imposed on you. His existence challenges the entire structure of the Jujutsu world. He is a flaw in the system, a reminder that even the most perfect order has blind spots that can bring it crashing down. And through his son, Megumi, his legacy continues, not in the form of power, but as a story of rebellion, resilience, and the truth that greatness can come from the most unlikely places. Even after death, Toji's name carries weight. Sorcerers whisper about him like he is a specter. Cursed beings remember him with fear. Fans admire him because he is proof that you don't need magic to be extraordinary. His legend is carved not into the supernatural world, but into the idea of what a human can become when pushed to the absolute edge. Toji Fushiguro didn't just kill a god, he changed the meaning of strength forever.